Convo.
Welcome back to Candid Conversations with Carmen. I'm your host, Carmen, and this is my side host,
Ashley.
and our wonderful producer,
T-Nugget.
And on today's episode, we are not back to the basics, but we are almost to the basics with two topics. So I don't have one. Ashley, T-Nugget, take it away.
Do y'all want to go with mine first, or you want to go?
It's a little more heavier, and his is more lighter,
yes.
or what?
Yeah, his is lighter.
You can actually say mine because it's on your paper.
Oh, you remember it. You don't remember, but she does.
So Troy's topic went into, he saw an article, I believe, on single mothers, was it?
He didn't see an article. He just was saying
I was just thinking about
it. He was asking, he was like, is it the equivalent of being a single father? And Carmen made the statement,
no, it's not.
And why?
I'm not going to say what I said.
Say exactly what you said. Say exactly what you said.
I'm not.
Carmen,
I'm not. You can try to quote me, not quote me, but
I can quote you for.
I know.
What she pretty much said was a single father can have 13 kids and still get a hot wife, whereas a single mother can have 13 kids and nobody will want to have anything to do with her. Essentially,
if they were equal, yes, I did.
Yes. I mean, she might find somebody.
She might be able to find someone, but realistically, I mean, 13 was an exaggeration just to be excessive. But in reality, if a woman is a single mother, she can have one child, 2, 3, whatever. If a man is a single father and actually has his children in his custody, he's considered like a saint. Like, oh my gosh, he's taking care of his kids. Oh my gosh, what happened to their mom? What's going on? He literally can get more ladies because he's a father. A woman who is a mother, it's like, oh my gosh, there's like this negative stigma around it that I don't get. I mean, I know what people try to say, but it's all a lie. So I'm like, what? It's crazy.
But when Troy brought it up, I started thinking about it, and it just pops into my mind in the Garden of Eden when God cursed Eve and told her that from that point on she would be beholden to her husband, like she would be enthralled with him and nobody else. That was what she was going to be. And I think what happens in that, it changed the dynamic of where they were, because when you read in Genesis and it talks about them being created, it said that God made male and female and he created them and he called them Adam. And so that meant that in that moment, they were equal to each other. Like they had their purposes, which with the man to be the one that was tending the garden and the woman to be the one. But their main job was to be fruitful and multiply. But they were in a partnership of equal standing. But at that point, God cursed her and she became beholden to the man. And at that point, his respect for her was gone. Like, in a sense, it was there, but it wasn't, because if you notice, the relationship after that was
feel like the respect was gone when God said, you're gonna be the mother of all.
I think the respect was there when
when he was like, the one you gave me. It was like, we aren't together because when she was formed, he was literally like, this is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. He was like, she is of me. She is me. We are one. Like, that was how his mind worked.
And then when he threw her under the bus,
he was like, God, you gave her to me. It was like, we aren't even in unity anymore. I think that was more so than before the whole, you'll be the mother.
But I think it played a part into that. And so when you have that connection, like, so then it talks about him knowing her. Then at that point, they were together. I'm sure they were doing stuff in the garden before then. And then they were like, and then it was like a dynamic shift. And it was like, and then he knew her. And it was like in a different sense than before.
I don't know.
But it did probably also shift when he was like, your name is Eve now.
And that's what I thought it was. He named her.
Yeah.
Like, at first they were just together.
She was a possession then.
She
I
wasn't
didn't
a
think of
possession,
it as a
but
possession.
it was a dominion kind of thing.
That's what I took it
Yeah.
as. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying when I say possession. I mean that at that point he had dominion over her.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
I wouldn't say
possession.
possession's a large word.
Yeah, possession has a lot of weight. Not quite ownership.
But in that, so in that sense, in that moment, when you see that, then that relationship and that dynamic change. The man was the provider. He may have to toil harder. It may be not easy for him, but he's working. He's the one
But
that brings it
still.
forth before life. And then you then get into the societal norms that women are supposed to be pure and they're supposed to be central. Not to say that men aren't supposed to be those things as well, but in society they push that narrative that women are supposed to be chaste and they should hold themselves to marriage and they should never be with anyone else. If you're looking even outside the Bible, then the Bible says everybody should be holding themselves until marriage or until they die if they're not going to get married. So in that so if you look at that, then you see that man has now shifted into a place of dominion over a woman. The woman is then in a place of she's lesser than. They treated women so terribly in the Bible, like really bad.
And that's a whole nother thing. I feel like people don't understand how much God champions for women throughout the whole Bible. Like, if you want, I know feminism and everything, but you might want to look at the one who really has your back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that, but as you see it, man then saw her as less than. Not that she was less than, but he did see her as less than, and they treated them as such. And so because of that, when women would have children out of wedlock, or they would have children they were raising on their own, and I think a lot of times people also think of single mothers as having their children out of wedlock, and that's not every single mother.
Yeah.
That's not the service. Some choose to do it like through whatever means to have a child, and they know that they want children, but they don't have a partner to have it with. So they have the child themselves, or they were married and they were widowed, or they got a divorce and now they're raising their children on their own or in partnership with their ex. And so people assume because of societal norms that because somebody's a single mom that they are bad business, and
It's just so disrespectful. Like I'm like, I don't really care. Like I'm like, if you have, because the fact of the matter is that if the person is a single mother, if the woman is a single mom,
she didn't get there herself.
She didn't get there alone. Period. So someone else is a father to these children. Now, if they were deceased, if there was a divorce, if it was a clean break, just a breakup, whatever. If it was a fling, hey, I'm not. How can I judge? But I just don't like the fact that it's like when people have those interactions, or like it's like literally, I've heard men say things like, "Oh no, she has kids. Like she has all these great things going for her. She's got her life on track, but she has kids."
Yeah, I know.
Like I'm like, what does that change if you again now if someone says, hey, now if this is someone's heart's desire and they have been living their life righteously, and they say, you know what, I've been waiting to get married, I've been, this is what I have as my heart's desire. I really I wanted this in my wife. If that's what a man says, and he was living his life righteously, I don't if she's married with or whatever, like the Lord can lead you to your partner and she can still have a child, even if your desire was otherwise. But if that is your heart's desire, I do believe that the Lord can honor you in that. So I'm not saying in that scenario that you can't just want what you want. But if you've been doing everything out here, you might even have children you don't even know about. But then you're gonna go and bash a single mom and be like, I'm not gonna be with her because she's a mom. How crazy! Like that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
But then you can date her though.
Yeah.
How does that? You won't marry her, but you can date her.
Yeah, I think that. Then I think, and in all those cases, I think it's a personal problem. I think it's a societal problem, but I think it's also a personal problem, and I think it's a sin problem. I think it stemmed from the garden, and then it just trickled down to us here.
Yeah.
And if Eve could have just kept her hands to herself and not ate that fruit and not listened to the serpent, Don't talk to snakes.
There was a lot of lessons to be learned in that.
It's a whole lot. Don't eat random fruit.
Everybody that's offering you something is not
Right.
offering you something good.
It's always good.
But I think that's where it really stems from, is that in the garden, when the dynamic shifted. When that dynamic shifted, it shifted all the way around. And so the worth of the woman did not go anywhere. But because God changed the way it worked, sin encapsulated that change. All he said was that you were going to be your heart is going to be for your husband. And he said that, but in that he didn't say that her husband's heart would be for hers.
But I think that is the beauty, if you really
But
think
then
about.
we go into the New Testament.
Yes, I was just about to say.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the beauty in it, because like you think about how God is like reconciling us to Himself,
Yes.
like through Jesus. But if you think about it, He's reconciling us to each other
Yes.
in that as well, because it's like, yes, they had a dynamic in being unified, and then Christ is literally basically a marriage to the church. He's
Yes.
coming to get His bride.
Yes.
And He is like, husbands, love your wives this way. And I'm like, He's essentially saying this dynamic changed, so your hearts are different than they originally were. But if you reconcile yourself to me, I can mend that disconnect.
Yes.
So that area in within you that is contentious,
Yes.
or you took something away from me, because realistically, Eve really made it hard for him, because like Adam had it good, lounging in the garden, eating whatever he wanted, except for the tree of good and evil. Then he was, you know what I mean? He was doing everything he wanted to do, and then it's like, now you're gonna have to work.
Yeah.
That's like being rich and then being told you gotta go get a job, like at a 9 to 5. And it's like, you were filthy rich. You never had to do anything. You had servants. Your life was perfect. And then you come in and it's like, anybody who's married now, if it's a husband and his wife, and you're sitting there and you're sitting at the house, you're filthy rich, you retired, you have the life of your dreams. And then somebody knocks on your door and they say you're being evicted. Your wife took all your money and did a bad investment. Now, mind you, you might have said, yeah, you can handle the investing.
Yeah.
He might be saying it because Adam ate it too.
Yeah.
Like, we can't pretend like
Yeah.
he didn't eat it too. But it's like, he maybe said, yeah, you can do the investment. He'd allow her to do this. And they come and evict you. Who's not going to be pissed off at their wife? Like, how you going to be like, I got to love her like Christ loved the church. Like, how do you keep yourself from being angry? So his upsetness makes sense.
Yeah.
So for him to be like, this is who you gave me. You want to cast blame on anybody but yourself. And then it's like, so that animosity could have been mirrored. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, we see how mad he is with her. Like, come on in this tent, Eve. That's all you good for. You mother of all. Get on in here and
Be the mother of all.
be the mother of all. And that's it.
Yeah.
He's like,
Because
"Hey,
the
go on
thing
in."
is, you never heard from her again.
No.
You heard about, Adam, the lineage of Adam and everything, and they talked about him walking, and they walked with Adam. But you didn't hear
What
about
were they
Eve.
going to say?
She was the mother of all.
That's what I'm saying. She had nothing else.
And Adam knew her. and she bore Seth. And then there was no more
mention of her. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, I understand it from that perspective. But like I said, it's a beautiful thing to see that the Lord he's like, y'all were trash. Y'all did wrong, but I'm going to still come back and get you. Like, I'm going to still circle back and grab you and make an opportunity for you to get, back in my good graces.
Yeah. And then also he then tells them to be in submission to each other. Like, you don't have control of your own body. The man doesn't have the control of his. That's his wife. And
I was
the wife
like,
doesn't have control of her own body. It's the husband. So it's like he's saying that y'all are equal in this thing.
yes. And people really need to keep that in mind.
Yes.
People always like, oh, and obey me. And I'm like,
It says submission and obeying is not the same thing.
people sometimes get that confused. They do.
But yes, so that was I think that was a really good topic because I think beyond just the single mother and everything, it goes to a heart issue, and I think it goes to a people issue and a sin issue. And I think when you get reconciled to God and you come to him, then he can change all of that. And when your heart is right, then you can see people differently. You can see them with the love of Christ. And so it doesn't matter if you were a single mom or a single dad. If God has you to see them with his eyes, then the love that you would have for them would be a godly love that then he can turn into a romantic love. And hopefully you like what they look like too. So
I believe God is faithful.
yes,
I believe God is faithful.
so I think that overall is a major thing.
Yeah.
And you had a topic too?
I did have a topic. Well, it was really not. It was more of an observance because I was talking to Carmen earlier about I was watching Belong, and LeBryant Friend was talking at the service that he was doing. He was talking about giving, and he talked about the woman with her 2 mice and giving the last of what she had. And then this morning I was on 6 a.m. Pour, and Justin was talking about the same thing essentially. And he was just like, God had been ministering to him about giving from your last. But he was like, it's not even just about money. Sometimes we get to a place of where we are giving to the Lord, or we're like serving and we just don't have anything else to give.
Yeah.
And you're like, God, I don't have anything else. But God sees that. And if you're giving of yourself in your last reserve and saying, God, I love you so much that I'm giving this to you and offering, that he will strengthen you. And I was asking Carmen, had she dealt with any of those things? Because I had situations where that had happened to me, where I was like, I'm giving out I just don't have the strength. I don't want to go when I'm serving. Like I be serving and it's like, I just want to sit down for a minute. I just need to, I don't feel it. I want to feel it. I want the joy that I had for this thing. And that was one of the things that LeBryant Friend was talking about, was he was like, we have to ask the Lord. He's like, God will, when you ask him to give you the joy and the love and for what he has planted inside of you again, to renew you so that you can, and essentially have fresh fruit.
Yeah.
To be able to come through. It was just like, wow, I needed that. I needed to be able to hear that, to be able to move forward. And so my question to you all is, have y'all in have y'all been feeling, or in money or in anything, that you are at your last and you're like, God, I don't have any more to give. I don't have anywhere to go. But I love you enough to give.
You want to start, Carmen?
I can, because mine will be
gosh.
brief. No. In recent months, recent seasons, I don't think I have felt that way. In years gone by, I have depleted my internal resource. Like myself, I'm at the end of me.
Yeah.
Like I have nothing else that I can give, and I was in service.
Yeah.
But I think that my in service was not from the correct heart posture. And so I did burn out. And the Lord, and again, you can say, Lord, help me. He is gracious, and he would definitely restore me, refresh me, renew me. But I will say that I was doing a lot of things out of the wrong place. And so in my offering, it was giving Cain. It was giving Cain.
Oh.
It was giving Cain.
That's honest.
Yeah, so it was all offering, but it was not the best that I could give because my heart wasn't in the right place. So I think that from that perspective, knowing that now, and again, and I was still doing good actions, and the Lord blessed me even still.
Yes.
But I know that the energy depletion was at a rate that was faster. The way that I felt when I would hit the bottom was so much lower because I was doing it from the wrong place. And again, like I said, the Lord's faithful, and I would say, Lord, help me. And he was faithful to do that. But I think now what the Lord has helped me with. And I think in some parts I feel like I could probably be serving more or giving more in a certain sense. But then also the Lord has really been helping me to kind of just like to really understand when you like do all things that's unto the Lord, like what that is. Because I can do a lot, but I'm like, why? Like I can just do it. Like I'm like, okay, boom, I'm working late, whatever. I'm putting my best in. I'm doing my all. That's just innate, but it's not like I'm doing it for God's glory. I'm not doing it because I love Him. Because I'm thinking, okay, I'm a child of God. Someone will see this and think that's a Christian. I'm just doing it because that's how I do things. And so He's been really showing me of like, in everything you can do it as unto me, but I have to acknowledge Him in it. Like I have to be like trusting the Lord with all your heart and lean not to their own understanding. All your ways acknowledge Him. That is how you're able to be able to do all things as unto Him. Because if I'm acknowledging Him, then yeah, I can do all the things that I can physically and actually do. But that maybe isn't what is required of me in that. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the offering of what I'm supposed to be giving. I can clean out my bank account and give it all to the church. But if that's not what He's called me to do, then I'm not doing it right.
Yeah.
And so I think that is what He has been showing me recently in that regard, is that no, I haven't been depleted my resources in that way. But again, like I said, historically, when that happened, He was gracious to fill me back up, but it was from the wrong place. And now I want to be in the right place with what I'm doing.
So you want your heart posture to be in the right, like to be sanctified and on the altar as a sacrifice.
No Cain stuff.
No, you want to give your first, the
Able.
beginning of it.
Able.
Yeah. Troy?
Yes and no at the same time. Like you can be like, oh, everything's depleted. Actually, the Lord has been actually very good. Like there was a time. There was a time where it was like I can't scrap two things together. I can't look across the room without being like that cost something. Like He's been really good for that, and it's like Carmen said, He's been just super gracious. Like because, like I said, there was a time where it was not as good, and it's not even just monetarily, but like even like you serving and doing different things. Like you can be like you said, burnout. Burnout is a real thing, and although I'm not really serving, like I feel like I want to serve, but I'm just don't know where I'm supposed to be yet. And so in that area, I can't say like I'm just fully depleted.
Yeah.
But I do feel like even in all these different areas, there's a future. Like, if that makes sense. Like, I might feel depleted. Like, I might not feel depleted, but I know that there's a future of things to come ahead.
Say more.
Yes.
On that. I'm confused. I know. I kind of feel like I get what you're getting at.
So, as you were saying, do you feel depleted in these different areas and things like that? And then you feel like you've given all that you can give and you're just like, Lord, here. No, I don't feel like I've given all that I can give. And there's been moments where I've been like, might not have been at like my best, but I still feel like there's a future. I can see a future.
Of where you are giving of yourself?
Of what you've put in and you expect to get out.
Yes. Like,
okay.
I can see like...
I get what he's saying. So he hasn't reached a point. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
He hasn't reached a point of depletion where he is just like burned out and giving all of himself. Where he's just like, I need you to fill me up, Lord. But he has been sowing into certain areas of his life that he sees the future reaping of that sowing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
100%.
I think that's true. I think that's true. I've seen you put in work, and I've seen you be dedicated, and I've seen you be like, okay, I'm going to do this even when it doesn't look like anything. And I think that's where consistency is there. Is and when your heart is not for show, it's I want to get better at my craft. I want to do it to the best of my ability. I want to see new styles. I want a new, whatever it may be. it's like, and then be a good steward of what it is that you have, whether it be financial, whether it be equipment, whatever it may be. It's like, I'm going to be a good steward of it, so that if I might not have the space, but I know what I want, and I have to do it, and I'm going to keep it in good condition, and so that is something that takes you far when you are in that place. And one of the things that I've been really consistently telling myself is that it's a process, and sometimes the process is not quick, it's slow. And so even though I want it to be at the end where I can say, wow, I'm there, where I want to be, I have to enjoy the process and the steps to be able to get to that. And sometimes it's not to depletion, but it's like I have to be consistent. It's the consistency. But I think it's also, even in that, you still have to cry out to God to ask him to strengthen you, because even in those moments, it might not be I'm at the end of myself, or I've just pushed everything in. It's in that way, there's still a place where you're at the end of yourself, because you don't have the strength to be able to carry on in your own power.
But I feel like if you already go into it knowing that you can't do it in your own power, it also shifts your perspective as well.
Yes.
Because I just be like, you know what? Like, I've been watching different videos and stuff like that, and I'm like really attributing those things to my actual life. Where, like, I think in the last episode, you said, like, taking your thoughts captive. Like, one guy was like, in those moments, like, you might think something, you're like might be putting yourself down or something like that. You can actually literally tell yourself, like, Lord, I know those thoughts aren't of you. Show me what I need to be seeing and things like that. And I've actually been attributing that to my life. And I've been like, it's beneficial. And another thing is if you actually talk to God throughout the day. Because
say it again.
Because I was like, if you actually talk to him, you feel better. Like, and it's like, you might have a lot of things coming at you, but you're like, okay, God, like, this is the things that are coming at you. Because I really had to think to myself, I'm like, God, I can pray for this thing later because it's just bugging me down. And then I clicked myself out of it, and I was like, no, I can do that now. Like, I can actually have that conversation and be like, hey, Lord, this is going on and everything's going on. I can pray about it. And even when I'm thinking about other people, I'm like, I can pray for you now, not just later when I'm going into my prayer time and all of these different kinds of things. And so, no, I don't feel like I'm just got into a place of like depletion where I'm just like, Lord, just fill me up, because I'm like, you're always there. So
and I think this part is like not the I think it's the same, but it is.
What are you saying? Say it again. I'm confused. I wasn't following.
Like, I think in this sense, it's like what you're saying is that God is always, he's like, your cup is never empty, because he's always continually replenishing it, because you're always at the source. And I think in that's a beautiful place to be at. And I think that you wouldn't be empty, because you are being continually filled up. And for me, I'm like, in certain areas I'm there, but in that one specific place. But I think it also can be frustration, because I was just thinking about it, like the frustration of things, how you want things to be, and it may not be that. And so you're like, how can I get to that place? And there's no way to get to it. And so that's where you're weakened, because it's like, I'm going into this thing and it looks the same every time I go. There's no difference, there's no change, there's no anything. And it's like, am I beating my head against the rock? Am I throwing my pearls before swine? Because if I am, I need to just grab them up. And
I think that's when you have to stand on the word.
100%. This year it's been, God is a God of the impossible. And Matthew 19 verse 26. He's a God of the impossible.
And you have to stand on it. And so I think because a lot of times it is that taking every thought captive, because when you realize how much stuff you think about in the day, like how many thoughts just go in your mind, you're like, oh my gosh, and it'll ride you into a tizzy. You'll be on a spiral, negative spiral, a positive spiral, a dream spiral, an imagination spiral. Like, you can go everywhere in 2 seconds, and then you're back at work. You know what I mean? And you've done all of that. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so mad at my coworkers. I've got the promotion. Like you're mad. Like you have gone 0 to 60 in 2 seconds in your mind. Yeah. And so when you have to really be conscientious of what you're thinking about and what you're meditating on. Mm-hmm. So when those thoughts pop up, good or bad, because a lot of times, like what you're saying is it can be depleting in the waiting. Because you're like, I want to be to the next thing. I want to get to where I'm going to be. And Troy is like, I know the next thing is coming. I'm sowing right now. Mm-hmm. So I know there's reaping to come. Mm-hmm. And so again, when you're in that waiting season, it can be hard because you can ebb and flow. Mm-hmm. But when the thoughts come in of, oh gosh, I'm not where I want to be, or stand on the right, God is a God of the impossible. Mm-hmm. You said it, I believe it, it is done. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that's replenishing you. Mm-hmm. It's to stand on those things. So like you said, and sometimes you can get to the end of yourself when you are at the point where you're like, Lord, I have nothing else to give. Yeah. I'm done. Mm-hmm. I'm at the end of me. Yeah. I'm at the end of me. I don't have any more plans. I don't have any more ideas. I don't have any creative anything. I can't come up with anything. I'm done. Mm-hmm. Lord, carry me the rest of the way. Mm-hmm. Lift me up. And he's faithful to do. You're asking it. Mm-hmm. You're saying, Lord, help me. Mm-hmm. He does it. Mm-hmm. And so I think that continuing to back it up with the word of God when those thoughts and pressure tries to get on you, pushing those thoughts and those imaginations down so that you're taking those captive. They don't control you. Mm-hmm. Like literally today, I was at work and Troy came down the steps and I told him, I was like, Troy, you know, I had everything still going on. And I was like, Troy, yada, yada, yada. And he was like, leave that to the Lord. And I was like, you're right. You're right. Leave that to the Lord, because I'm really saying I'm trusting in you. Mm-hmm. The degree of my imagination trying to figure it out is not me trusting in you. Yes. I'm trying to make it shake and make it work and get my plans together and get my calendar spread out. This is when things are going to change for me. And it's like, I'm trusting that you're going to do it in the appropriate time. And I'm trusting that you'll prepare me and equip me when I need to be. And I think that was like, when he said it to me, it was like just a snap back. Mm-hmm. Like, girl, get yourself back on right. Because he said a couple of things tied to that situation. And he was like, so what are we talking about here? Like, what, and again, I think tying to the last episode, having good people around you to sow into you, to have those encouraging words. Yeah. Sometimes you get to the bottom of yourself and you're like, Lord, help me. He may send someone. Yeah. Sometimes it's not an encouraging word. Sometimes it's like, open your Bible. Yeah. And it's not somebody saying it to you. It's the encouraging word of the word. Yeah. And sometimes it's the Lord saying, I love you. Mm-hmm. And you just like, oh, I just feel that love. Just get up. Mm-hmm. Do that. Mm-hmm. And he meets you where you're at. Yeah. And he's faithful in that way. So I'm just like,
yeah, because I mean, I had this like, I didn't even tell y'all about this, but I had this email, like this guy at work. The first time my first ever interaction with him was terrible. Mm-hmm. And from that point in time, whenever he emails me or we talk, it always seems like we're at odds. Mm-hmm. Like, for some reason, he feels like, or I don't know, I don't want to say he feels like, it seems as though he thinks I'm coming for him. Yeah. And like, he'll have a email and it'll have all caps in it for no reason. Yeah. And then it'll be like, okay, and today I was just like, can you just say what you're going to say? Like, I didn't say it to him, but I was just like, can you just say what you're going to say from the very beginning? Yeah. And I was getting ready to send him an email on the way home, and I just erased it, and I just just did it. And I just said, I'm going to leave it at where it is. I'm not going back on another response to him. I'm not going to do it. If he wants something to happen, he can make it happen. I'm not doing it. Yeah. I'm not taking no initiative to do it, because...
You know what? One thing. Don't let somebody else doing raggedy get you outside of doing what you're going to do.
Oh, no, I was never going to help to do that in the first place.
Okay, that's one thing. Number two, that reminds me of when I worked at the orange place. Yeah. When I worked there, this lady, she was like horrible. Yeah. Like, when I tell you, she was like a terror to work with. I would dread having to talk to her. I would have to dread having to interact with her. And she was a coworker. She's supposed to be a support. And she was the worst. I'm telling you, I was like, I hate working with her. Like, and I am the person who I don't want to say like I don't like nobody. Because I like to give people a chance. And she used to just, oh gosh, it would make me feel sick to have to think about speaking with her because she was so condescending and so just horrible.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I said, Lord, I said, if I have to work with her, if I have to, I said, Lord, then change me. I said, because if it's something that she's bothering me, something about her is bothering me. So that means that we're not in alignment. So if it means that something is causing contention and I'm the reason, change me. And if it's her, change her, because I can't do this. I don't know what's going on, but I can't do it. Girl, hey there, oh my gosh, how are you? How are your kids? Cool. Everybody was like, I hate her. She's the worst. I can't stand her. I said, no, she's so nice. Just talk to her. She's great. I'm telling you, our interactions were totally different. My interaction was, I didn't have dread to talk to her. I didn't have the thoughts of, oh gosh, it's gonna be miserable. Because you go into it thinking, you hear her voice come over the phone and you're like, she's gonna be the worst. So when you get those emails and you get those whatever it is, I think also it can help if you err on the side of, like when he says all caps, I'm like, oh dang, his cap lock was on.
Oh no,
it wasn't shouting.
No, it wasn't. It was in a specific word.
Oh my gosh, his keyboard got jacked up.
But no,
just do that, and it helps you.
But the thing is, I understand where he's coming from. I know what it is. But it's still, I will pray about it to ask the Lord not to let it irk me. Because the thing is, now it's to the point where somebody bringing him up is just like, oh, trust me, I know. And I'm like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be like that. And I don't want to.
But I'm telling you, God is faithful. You pray that. Because you're not going into it as that person is the one that's wrong. You genuinely are saying, Lord, if there's something in me that's the problem, I don't want to be in no mess that I don't have to be in. Clean this up. And he'll do it. And if it's, you have to do some personal work. You have to get some things done. And if not, look, I literally like, Lord, I was like, Lord, I don't want to fight. Like, I usually be like, we're going to have a debate. And I'm going to tell, I was like, I don't want to fight. Like, I don't feel like fighting. I don't want to. Girl, you know we have a conversation. I'll be like, well, go with the Lord. He'll clear that up. I'm at a place where I'm like, it's not even in me. Like, I don't even feel it. And he's faithful to be like, you can get to the place where you need to be. Now, sometimes, hey, you may need to. To buck up. And I realized and I understood like the conversation and the things that he expounded upon and all that kind of stuff. I understand it. The conversation that I had with him the first day, I understood it. The Holy Spirit told me what it was. His issue was, and it wasn't necessarily with me. But it's like because of the actions of what I said to him that day. I think it's also because he kind of badmouthed me to other people. And you don't like that.
I hate that. I hate that.
Why do you hate that?
Because it's not my character. Like, the thing is,
but you know what your character is.
I know that, but it also, when people say those different things, it can make other people form an opinion of you before they've ever met you.
And that does what to you?
To me? In real life, it doesn't do anything, but...
I get the reason I'm asking. I'm the same way. I'd be like, if you minded your business as much as you're minding mine, you would be able to be rich.
Yes.
Like, that's literally my motto. I'm like... And so I get it, but it's something I'm working through.
And that's why I said... So I know that it was, because it's funny to me is because those things got back to me. And it was like... It was also wrapped up in a whole lot of other things that were going on as well. But I'm just like, Lord, and that's why I said, it was just really that thing kind of ate at me today. And it was just, I'm just like, Lord, help me to deal with this man, because he's always so snippy. And I'm just like, I'm trying to be courteous to you. I am giving you the responses that you're asking for.
Yeah.
If you want something to happen, you're now talking to me like I'm your assistant and you want me to do something for you. I'm not required to do anything for you. If you have an idea, and I was literally getting ready to send him that.
But you know, Ashley, pride breeds contention. And you're not his secretary, and you need to make it known that you're not his.
I didn't make it known that
I know, but it rubbed you the wrong way.
No.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying. You already know. You know. You already know.
That's a trigger for me.
You know it's a trigger for you.
I do. And that's why I said the Lord was working on me, because I did not send that last email, because it was to him privately. He had been sending
everyone else out a copy.
Yes, and I was about to send it to him privately, and I didn't. And I was like, thank you, Jesus, because I know that probably would have caused a whole lot of other issues.
Set it off and all.
Because I was really like, if you want to see something happen and you know that there's an issue here, just do it. You don't have to come and make a big old issue and a big old thing and put everybody in. And that's another thing. Don't bring me into a conversation with everybody on it and visibility on it if you got a question for me. Because it was for me.
The same things that rub me the wrong way, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I truly do. Because you know me, I'll be spinning around in that chair all day. And I can't believe she said, like, everyone knows this.
Yeah.
So I know. Yeah. But at the same time, like I know,
it's pride. I know. And
I'm not saying that it's pride, because I can't judge you.
No, the Lord was, I know, and I'm working on that. And I'm praying for it. But to not be, I don't want to feel feelings at all about this.
But the thing is that you can still feel feelings about it. You be like, Lord, I don't want to feel nothing about it no more. You feel what you feel. That doesn't mean that it's bad. You feel what you feel because it's valid.
Yeah.
He's trying it.
Yeah.
It's valid to have an emotional response to that. Mm-hmm. But if you're saying, I don't want these interactions to keep happening because he has a problem or I have a problem. Mm-hmm. If I'm the problem, fix me so I don't have it anymore. If he's the problem, fix him or move him, because one of those things needs to happen, because Lord, you are in control of all of this. Mm-hmm. If the Lord is using this as an opportunity to work some things out in you, hey, for his glory, for your good.
Yeah.
But if you're saying, this is impeding my ability to do my job, this is impeding our ability to be successful, this is a problem, this is an issue, Lord, I need you to handle it. I need you to take the reins and take control, because I'm at the end of me. I can't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. And God is faithful that way. Mm-hmm. He'll do it. It might not be like, you might have a minute that it might take some time. Yeah. But again, in the right time, in the right season, it will happen. You'll be like, am I at lunch with him? Or see, look at your eyes. That is a miracle. See, am I going before the throne for lunch? Am I going before the throne for lunch? So y'all can go to lunch together. To me, again, and something that also helps me is, like, I will literally be on Teams met calls and things like that, and I'm like, they're grating on my nerves.
Oh, I've heard them.
And I'm like, Lord, please help me to be able to operate with these people the way you'd have me to, and to be able to love these people the way to see them how you see them. Because if I really think God loves you like that, I can't interact with you the same way because you annoy me, because you get on my nerves. It's just, everybody's not going to be your cup of tea. Mm-hmm. And you definitely have to be like, you know what, Lord, they're going to have to be moved out, because, hey, that can be the case. Mm-hmm. But when I'm like, Lord, why is this bothering me? Mm-hmm. Why is this getting on my nerves? Lord, help me to be able to see these people the way you do. Help me to operate with these people the way that you want. You put me here for a reason. You have me here for a reason. Allow me to steward this well so that you can be glorified and I can be where I need to be in right standing with you. And God is faithful to that. Like I said, it's not overnight. I'm still praying that on a regular basis. But I know he's faithful. He did it before. I know he'll do it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right.
You got anything else, T-Nugget? Ooh, we close out the episode. This was good. The last episode was good, too. So, thank you all for watching, listening, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.